Hello, Snappy Pancakes here, and welcome back to my Germanic colonial style town build. Still working on the main buildings, and they all sort of it looks starting to come to shape. You can sort of see how it's developing, and well, I think this video seems to work much better for this build, Time-Lapses, because you can sort of see little buildings being built one by one. With the castle, it looks some parts looks a bit of a mess, and you can't really see what's going on. So I'm much more happy with the way this time lapse worked out. I think I say too much, and I really can't help it. It's really frustrating. And when I look back at my videos, like, I'm saying like all the time. It's like not nice to listen to. So I'm gonna try my hardest to not around, so to speak, and continue with I did it already. It's terrible. I'm terrible. Yeah. So, that's almost an it's not quite an So, as I continue building, you can see this is probably one of the tallest buildings, one of the most grandiose buildings in the town. When I get to the next sections, they become much smaller and more intimate and more villagey. So, these buildings would be much more, like the town hall or the whatever, the bureaucratic buildings, or the bank, or the rich people buildings, because they're the ones who have all the nice buildings usually. So that's basically the concept. Maybe this would be the town hall, so to speak, because it looks pretty centered. It has it has quite a lot of features. I think I went a bit out there with this design, but I like it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. At the moment, I still have to maybe finish a little bit more of the town. I've got a few empty spaces in the town that sort of don't know what to do with. I think I'm going to delete some of my older rides and try and redesign the whole park, because it's becoming very... I don't like the older stuff I build. Does that happen to you when you build your own creations in these games? When you first started building stuff and you look at it and you say to yourself, wow, this is looking good, and then you after about 2 months you look back at it and you're like, what was I thinking? That looks terrible, and this happens to me a lot when I first start a new game. I think I was starting to get happy with how things are looking when I started building this town, because the castle, I think, could look a bit better. I have more ideas and different ideas to make a castle. I think I would probably follow sort of something more Victorian would be great, something like the Alton Towers castle, because I'm really inspired by Alton Towers. I think I'm going to try and base this park a bit like Alton Towers, because that's I have a lot of very fond memories of Alton Towers when I was a child. Disneyland, of course, and Alton Towers are the theme parks I would think about when I'm making a theme park. They tend to be incredibly beautiful, and I'm a sucker for beauty when it comes to design. Of course, there are many modern, great, beautiful theme parks and designs too. Of course, look at Epcot. It has some great modern architecture. Like a giant golf ball. How novel! But in this park, I'm trying to go for more old style. I think. To me, that's theme parky to me. I'm also thinking about what I'm going to use for soundtracks next. I've been using the SimCity 3000 soundtrack. I think it's probably my favorite SimCity soundtrack. And I'm getting some nice feedback from that. Some people like it. But what would I use next? What would you use? What do you guys use in your Let's Plays? I would rather use something public domain, something non-copyrighted. Of course, SimCity 3000 has probably got a copyright out there, so if I ever get told to take it down, I probably would. But I'm not satisfied so much with some of the music available in YouTube's lists. I don't know how they sound. I can't be asked to go through like 200 songs or something to find one that might fit, because they all sort of sound a bit, I don't know, they seem better for things like drama. If you're making some sort of drama, you need a documentary, or you're making something, fantasy or something new with acting or something, those songs seem to work. But for Let's Plays, I'm not sure who would want to listen to that kind of music the whole way, and I think SimCity's soundtrack really gives you that feeling. I don't know about you, but that was my first simulation game that I really fell in love with, and that soundtrack is forever burnt into my head. So it gives me this great motivation when I'm building things. I'm not so I mean, I would love to put music I really want on it, but I think, I settled for the SimCity soundtrack because it seemed less dodgy, but, probably it's still dodgy. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think. So I'm now building the second gatehouse-like tower, which sort of resembles the first gatehouse tower that I built next to the Rocktopus ride. I think I don't settle for I think at the moment it looks a bit like a penis, so I decided to make it a bit less phallic. And I like how it turned out. It's the only building in the whole village with a curved wall, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think. And it looks very medieval, actually. It looks more medieval than the other buildings because, of course, the brick is a stone castle, and I'm sure you can actually already make some great medieval areas. I just realized. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, that would also be pretty cool. I think I might do that in another part of the park. Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave it there because, well, it gets easier to talk about stuff the more I record it, but it's quite a challenge to think of interesting things for the whole video without going on about nothing. I think I've said this about 10 times because, as you can see, I'm struggling to think of things to say. So I will come back when I have something more interesting to say, hopefully. Okay? Great. Enjoy the rest of the video. Well, I'm back, and as you can see, I'm starting to add some decorative elements to the town center. I'm obsessed with placing rocks to get rid of all these ugly, unnatural looking lines, and then I can sort of make more flat spaces that sort of look like they're meant to be paths, but of course you can't access them. Just to get rid of all the square-like shapes and stuff. Try to give it a bit more organic. Make it more organic. Make it look like it's integrated within the environment. I really like the tropical trees. They look great. Actually, I think the nature looks really good in this game, and the rocks, and well, I think a lot of stuff look really good in this game actually. But I really think the rocks is a great adding, and I love the way you can just place objects within objects, and there's no, I don't know how it's called in video game, but you can place it wherever you want, even if it's collided with another object, and that's amazing. I've never seen that in Roller Coaster Tycoon, and in most games, you have to sort of mod that to make it available, and of course it's much better to sort of be able to overlap things. Otherwise, everything sort of looks like it's placed in a little square, and it that was how, before modern games, you know, about 10, 20 years ago, simulation games were much more squarey, and you know, I'm relishing in the fact that now we can do all these amazing designs and stuff. And I love these lanterns; they look really great. And I even hung them from balconies. I don't, which one is which? Is it humans are hanged, right? And paintings are hung. Ugh, let me know if in the comments below. I have no idea. So yeah, they look great, and I always hang them from the balconies. I made some balconies in some of the next videos, and you can see just a lot more detailing. Of course, this is the pirate theme detailing, but you know, you can actually, it could be any theme. You know, barrels could be from any theme. You know, gunpowder and cannons. Well, they're probably quite piratey, or at least old-timey. But you know, I've seen I'm from London, and I see sometimes old decorative cannons on buildings. So, and now realizing I haven't actually placed any decorative cannons. But that's a good idea, actually. Maybe I should do that in my next video. And the lighting as well. Give some cyan blue, some nice warm tropical feeling to it, and the greens and the pinks, sort of. I don't know, the lighting, so beautiful. Really makes the game just that little bit extra pretty, you know. But yeah, I'm very impressed with the lighting. It just looks so nice, you know. So I think I'll call it a day there, and maybe I come back at the end of this video, but it's more likely that you'll hear me in the next video, because yeah, a lot of the same sort of things are happening all the time. You know, I'm just adding trees, I'm just adding rocks, you know, I'm just adding decorative elements. So pretty soon, when that's done, I'll move on to the next part of the town. So the main facade is more or less, the main square is more or less finished, the front part, and it all seem to work together well. Oh, now I'm adding some signs. Okay, I'm not so confident with my sign designs, so to speak. I feel I'm a bit clumsy with them. I'm not the best when it comes to advertising and this aspect of graphics design. So, but the signs look great in this game, and I really like. I think yeah, it looks okay. It seems to fit. You know, it seems to be okay. Anyway, I'm gonna sign out, and I'm gonna come back later so you can hear my voice later talking about stuff. Enjoy that when it happens. Okay, bye. Ooh, okay. Welcome back. Well, welcome me back, so to speak. I'm starting to build the next part of the towns, looking for little pathways. There's gonna be a little alleyway that goes down the middle. And now I'm building the first house, overlapping it with some of the pathways. It's all gonna be hidden with rocks, so you won't see the ugliness afterwards. Well, hopefully. Is it this building? No, this building doesn't have a balcony. I think the one next to it's gonna have a balcony. This one's just a simple little house. Doesn't have anything in it, I don't think. No, it's just a fake little. Oh no, there is. Okay, burger bar. Okay, God, they must be getting so sick of burgers in my theme park. Milkshake and burgers. It kind of sucks for vegetarians, doesn't it? You know, you can only have milk juice, like cow juice or cow. And hats, so you know, which are probably made out of leather or something. So you know, I'm not a vegetarian, but you know, I think I can't wait till there's more stuff in the game to make it just a little bit more realistic. Because you know, these days they wouldn't just have burger bars. You know, well, any days actually. That's so boring. So I had a little bit of a. I like these skeletons. They should be more. They all look. I mean, when you place them in rows, they look not so great because they're all in the same position. And who like dies in the same position? You know, then it just. Like reeks of like fakeness, which maybe makes sense because it's a theme park and it's not real, but I'm going for trying to make it a bit more realistic, you know, more Disney and less, I don't know, Port Talbot's, no, Port Talbot? No, Barry Island. I don't know if you guys are from Wales, but they have these, you know, these crappy little theme parks by the sea. They also have it in like, you know, in England to like Blackpool. I mean, it's good, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, but you know, I don't think they put a lot of effort into their scenery and things like that. Like, you know, I think Disneyland is the one that probably puts the most. Also, like in Germany, there's Europa Park, and that also I heard is very, very beautiful. I am yet to visit that yet, but I think I might have to just head on down to Europa Park just for inspiration, because it's only half an hour away from where I live. And since I'm spending so much time on these theme park builds at the moment, I think, you know, I'm long overdue a theme park visit, I have to say. The last time I went to a theme park, I didn't have such a great time, and I realized how motion sick I got. I think I started getting motion sick in my old age, but that won't stop me from going to theme parks and riding the rides, because I actually do like them. But, you know, if you've actually come this far into my videos and listened to me waffle on, you're probably like, why this guy hates theme parks, why is he building? I don't, I love them, and I love good theme parks, you know. Maybe I just have a higher standard for theme parks than most people. It's not just for me about the rides, it's about the ambience, so to speak. So I have to sort of believe a bit that they put effort into it, you know, and I think I have a stupidly high standard for designs and things, so I don't know, it ruins it for me if they're like, oh, that's a cheap looking building, oh, that looks like a fake rock, oh, that's obviously not real, and that drives me insane when I'm in these sort of themed like areas, you know. And but you know, I mean, for me it's not so much about just going on a roller coaster anymore. I mean, it used to be. If I was like 12 again, I wouldn't give any care about, you know, how it looked. Just wanted to, you know, get sick and dizzy and stuff, which didn't happen to me as a kid. I don't know, I think when you get older you sort of get a bit like less into being, I don't know, I just think you just sort of understand how, like, you know, well, maybe not for everyone, but I sort of started to get a bit more anxious, and I was sort of like, well, what if it goes wrong, you know? And as a kid, I was never like that. But of course, it really doesn't usually go wrong, so it's not really a valid fear. But being someone who doesn't really like heights very much, ironic, because I love skyscrapers and I draw a lot of tall buildings, but you know, I wouldn't get an apartment on a top floor or anything like that. I just like to be closer to the ground, which is reflective in this town, because all these little houses are small and they're close to the ground, and you know, it's more my thing, I guess. So, starting on another little tiny house. This one's joined to the next one. It's even smaller, and I don't think I put anything in there. No, it's just a connection house. It's just, you know, let's just pretend the burger bar is those two buildings, you know, and they're eating all inside there. And there are benches, and there are food courts, and they sell all sorts of food, because I have to keep my imagination going when I build this, because, as I said, not enough objects and things to put in, you know. Although the modular building stuff actually is pretty good, you know, it's got enough to do with, you know. and it doesn't necessarily matter as long as you're covering up everything that you do. Making a little bell tower here. And I made another building that's right opposite. It's going to look exactly the same. So if you think of it as like a little gate building. I made a lot of these gate buildings, but through the path you sort of enter, and there are these two church bell towers down the alleyway. And there's no, I don't think there's any entrance to shops and down that alleyway. It's just a little shortcut. So, yeah. And I love the bells, actually. I discovered that from another video. I was like, oh wow, yeah, you can place bells like that. That's great. That's a really cool idea. And I like the hat sign, actually. I mean, I try not to use too many of those big modern signs, just because I don't want to detract from the the visual appeal of the town. But you know, there are some parts of cities with these old buildings, and they have these new neon signs. You know, when they change an area, I don't know, especially in Amsterdam, they have this, by the red light district, they have a lot of these signs for porno theaters and whatnot, and they're all very big and tacky and neon. So I mean, it can work. It can, you know, the juxtaposition of the old signs with the new signs with the old buildings can give a nice effect. But not too many. Just not too many, because it ruins the facade sometimes, I think. And it would be nice to have some smaller signs. I think, you know, there's only one smaller sign for each of the facilities, and I'm pretty sure that will be improved upon once the game is released, and hopefully modding, because I'm really counting on there being so many mods for this. I mean, I can't expect it to be like City Skylines, where they have the whole mod system integrated into the game, but I'm pretty sure it can be done. I think this development studio actually is listening to the fans, and they want to make the game as great as possible for the people who want to play. So I can't imagine there not being a great modding community once this game finally gets ahead. And then I put the statue of this pirate guy. I thought this was a decent statue. I'm not sure how much I like it, because when I think I'm going to start building the next building soon that's going to be just the same, but it's slightly different, but almost the same. And there's going to be the same statue again on the tower, and I'm not sure how that turned out. So if you like it or don't like it, let me know how you think. If you think it looks a bit dumb and less realistic because of it, but I also kind of like how the statue of that pirate thing is greeting you as you walk into the little village, you know. So maybe it looks good, but I'm still not 100% on that. So now I'm making this into a little burger and milkshake bar. Yeah, just so many burger and milkshake bars. Suffering from lack of stuff to do. But anyway, I'm still having fun, I think. Little entrances and little design features. Yeah, it's starting to take shape, and you can see it's almost like, you know, you can see the plan of the buildings looking like the other building. And once it's done, it's gonna look like these two little twin towers, which is great. And you see that sometimes in these old buildings, they have these sort of double entrance, or you know, these copied buildings that are reverse copied, you know, which will look good, hopefully. Another bell tower, and some more design features, some more decorative elements being added, and then pretty soon the little statue is going to be placed on top, I think, and then lighting and this and that. So I think I'm going to leave this talk episode there, and I think I'm going to talk again in the next episode, because it speaks for itself sometimes, you know. I think you guys get what's going on. But if you don't, and if you have any clarifications and anything you would like to add, or think like, what are you doing here? Like, well, what's that about? That doesn't look right, you know, or like something like that. Just leave me a comment or anything down below, and I'll try to respond. I'm pretty okay with responding, I think. So yeah, because I really appreciate feedback, and I appreciate people telling me what's good and what's not good, because how else am I supposed to improve otherwise, you know? The thing, yeah, it really is helpful. I don't know about other artists, but I strive upon, you know, feedback. I think an honest feedback. I don't, you know, it's great when people are like, yeah, that's really good and blah blah blah, but then what could I do better, you know? So I really appreciate to know, like, if you're like, you know, eyes are bleeding and you're like, oh, what is that, you know, just let me know, you know. I don't, you know, I can take criticism, I hope. I'm pretty sure I can take criticism. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there and enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you again in the next part. Okay, bye.